Welcome to Giants Nation. I'm your host, Bobby Skinner, and we've got ourselves a Mega Tank Bowl preview. So we're going to have our segments with Grump and Danny, have an interview with Ryan Dunleavy, and I kind of want to talk about this game a little bit here to open. You know, it's a 2-13 New York Giants against the 2-13 Las Vegas Raiders. This is essentially for the number one overall pick. The loser of this game is the real winner, right? We've been through this cycle way too many times to sit here and argue about tanking or not or whatever. We'll talk about some of that stuff. But I want to put together a little bit of a rooting guide for you, or scenarios for the New York Giants if they do win this game. So, first, this episode is brought to you by some special people. We got Edward Jones. Was I the only person who listened to, or watched Ed and Eddie? I had an idea for a podcast when we first started, and the Giants drafted Daniel Jones, of having Daniel, and Danny. A Dan Duggan, Daniel Jones, and Danny King podcast. Never really turned into anything. And then Sahad Mujamdar. I'm pretty sure I got that correct. If I didn't, then I didn't. These people went to patreon.com/Giants Nation. This is the lifeblood of the show. The Giants, not being good this year, I feel like has hurt the Patreon a little bit. But it is the lifeblood of the show. And if you want to support us through the offseason when you're not living and dying with every little thing, even though we will be getting a lot of updates with at least a head coaching search in January, and then free agency and the draft are right around the corner. Patreon.com/Giants Nation is the best way to support us. I always encourage you to do the $9.99 tier. That's what keeps us alive. You get stickers. I send you some stickers in the mail. T-shirt contest every month. I've been doing like once a month Giants State of the Nation live streams where we just talk about, Giants Nation show, whatever. Basically anything in there. And I will say this for the offseason, because we don't put a bunch of exclusive content. That's not what the Patreon's about. It's not about like, we got to drive people here. Let's put exclusive content. We do put the film review exclusively on there, but that's kind of ending. There's one more essentially for the rest of the year. So that's not going to be a big driver for people to join right now. For draft season, we're going to do so much with the draft, but you can't put everything out on the podcast or open, or it'll flood your channel and it won't do well. So we're going to try and do a bunch of interviews this year. I think we're going to put them on Patreon and just put every type of content that we do that's not necessarily going out there publicly on the Patreon. So patreon.com/Giants Nation. Support the show. Really appreciate it. You'll be glad you did. So let's talk about this, the 2025 Mega Tank Bowl, which I have trademarked. That might make t-shirts if we end up winning it. So you're playing the Raiders. Both teams are going to be without key pieces, right? Kayvon went to IR. Andrew Thomas looks like he's not playing. John Michael Schmidt's not playing, even though I think him and Austin Schlottman have played fairly similar when Schlottman has gotten the opportunity, but JMS is better. The Raiders, on the opposite side of that, they put Brock Bowers on IR and then Jeremy Chin on IR as well, too. I think Andrew Thomas is probably more important to the Giants operation than Brock Bowers. But we'll see. Maybe Marcus Bowe is, just a really good swing tackle. And that's one player who I'm really interested in watching in this game. So you go into the Raiders are dead last in scoring, while the Giants are 28th in scoring defense. The Giants are 23rd in scoring, while the Raiders are 25th in scoring defense. So the simple way to look at it is this: if you lose both these games, you have the number one overall pick, right? They're the only two-win teams in the NFL. You lose both these games, you have the number one pick in the NFL draft. You guys didn't need to tune into this podcast to tell me this. So I'm stealing this from Doug Analytics, who I'm always appreciative of. I think a lot of people just kind of, use him as like as a take machine. I hate him for fourth down and what else do I hate? Oh, win probability. I hate win probability. But anyways, I'm taking this from Doug Analytics of scenarios for the New York Giants. So the Giants and Raiders are the only teams with 2 wins, right? There's 4 teams with 3 wins. So let's say the Giants do beat the Raiders. So let's talk about that, because I think it's, as much as I don't have faith that the Giants are going to win, have confidence, it's certainly possible, right? These are the two worst teams in the NFL, essentially. And I think the Raiders are less talented, right? When we talk about this a little bit later in the segments podcast with Grump, is the whole pieces thing. Every team has pieces except for the Raiders and the Tennessee Titans. And even then, the Raiders could say they have pieces of Bowers, Genty, vets like Crosby. But no Bowers in this game. So let's just live in a world where the Giants do win this game and kind of talk through the scenarios. The 4 teams that have 3 wins are the Titans, the Cardinals, the Browns, and the Jets. As long as the Giants only win 1 game and they don't, beat both the Raiders and the Cowboys, they are guaranteed to pick higher than the Titans and Cardinals, right? Because the Titans and because of the strength of schedule stuff, the Titans and Cardinals will have a higher, strength of schedule, so the Giants will pick higher than them if they only win 1 game, and those teams both lose their games. Let's work under the assumption that all 4 of the 3-win teams lose both their games, so they will pick higher than the Titans and Cardinals, meaning the Giants will pick no lower than 4th overall if they win 1 game. Now, the Cleveland Browns are guaranteed to have a higher pick than the Giants if they finish with the same record. Right? The Browns host the Steelers this week and then face the Bengals in Cincinnati in the finale. So, the Bengals are certainly beatable. The Browns almost beat them in week 1. I would assume the Bengals are going to play Joe Burrow, but if they didn't, I would actually pick the Browns to win that game. But if we finish with the same record as the Cleveland Browns, we will pick lower than them. The other 3-win team being the Jets is where strength of schedule gets a little murky as they finish the season playing the Patriots and Bills, who will be fighting for seeding. So I think we can chalk them down for 2 losses to end the season. But as things stand, the Giants would hold the tiebreaker with the Jets. As things stand currently, it's not set. And then they could still get the first overall pick, though, because if the Giants beat the Raiders, right? So if the Giants beat the Raiders and lose to the Cowboys, they would still hold the pick over the Raiders if they beat the Chiefs in Week 18, but not a crazy strong likelihood, but I think in all likelihood they would have that, even though it's not set in stone. But the reality is, if they finish with the same record as the Browns, they're not getting the first overall pick. They finish the same record as the Titans and Cardinals, they will pick higher than those teams. So I hope they get the first overall pick. I used to kind of dance around this whole tanking thing and the conversation around it because the reality is they're not trying to win. And when you're talking about it with 6 weeks left in the season, I think it's pointless because the likelihood is you're going to win 1 more game. But the Giants have gotten to the last 2 weeks of the season going on these historic losing streaks. Last year they broke the record of 9 straight with 10 straight. This year they're at 9 straight going into this game. I really hope they have the first overall pick. I hope the Giants have a new GM, and I hope he has that first overall pick as a key piece. And it's not because I'm looking to get some linebacker or wide receiver. And it's not because I'm one of these people who is like, oh, you know what? I think they should actually consider a quarterback. I think they shouldn't consider a quarterback. But I just want to trade down. I think it's as simple as that. I think that would set us up for so much more success than just drafting a great player at 3rd overall, right? There's no guarantees in the NFL draft, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But, the Giants have a lot of holes, and I want them to just be filled with good players and not just average players or new bad players. And I just think multiple top assets for a new GM is the best way to do it. It could be a nice bonus, for a new GM, right? Joe Schoen, leaving this as a nice scenario for another GM would be giving him the first overall pick by having the worst team in the NFL. That being said, if they do win, I'm not going to come on this podcast and whine about it, especially if it goes hand in hand with a Jaxson Dart performance. If they win, 10-7, maybe you'll get a little whining there because it's like, we had to watch that ugly game and lose. But if Jaxson Dart plays well, I'm not going to come on the podcast. We'll talk about it at the top, but I'm not going to cry about Jaxson Dart playing well. We'll happily break down the film. That will be much more enjoyable in the moment. But I just know I'll want that pick in March, especially when we're talking trade down. But the way I look at it is sometimes it ends up working out anyways. The 2019 game, we ended up getting Andrew Thomas instead of Chase Young. That's a big win in that game where Daniel Jones threw 5 touchdowns. Last year is still to be decided based on where Jaxson Dart, ends up. But I feel good about having Jaxson Dart and Abdul Carter over just Cam Ward, which it would have been the case if they lost to the Colts last year. And I'm not expecting the Giants to take measures to tank this game. Besides Andrew Thomas, you better play safe with him. Andrew Thomas better not play on Sunday. He did not practice on Wednesday. Thursday was a projection, but they had him to D up. I will be pissed off. That's the only thing where I'll be pissed off if Andrew Thomas plays on Sunday. But I'm not expecting a hot seat general manager and then an interim head coach to do it. It's not in the realm of possibility. If the Giants really wanted to do it, they would have to fire Joe Schoen. Uh, and if this was like like let's say next year they're in this situation with a new GM and head coach, I hope not. I hope not. That's where I think you could have a serious conversation about like really making an effort to not win this game. Because we saw them do it last year, right? And I think that's where they finally did do it last year against the Eagles. They rotated a bunch of backups into the game after the start. Like, let's look at last year's Eagles game where they lost 20-13 to an entire team of backups of the Eagles. But this gets forgotten for some reason. Darius Molisau was the only defensive player to play 100% of the snaps. Do you guys remember who Devod Wilson is? Yeah, well, he played 26 snaps at corner with Deonte Banks, Adoree Jackson, Drew Phillips, and Cordell Flott all 100% healthy. Burns and Kayvon were healthy. Timon Fox and Boogie Basham got the same exact amount of, not same exact, like 3 less, the same amount of snaps as those guys, right? Darius Molisau played 100% of the snaps. Deontay Johnson, Ty Summers, and Isaiah Simmons all played a good amount of linebacker next to him. Elijah Garcia and Jordan Riley got the most snaps at defensive tackle. On offense, it was a little less obvious, right? They put Josh Azudu into the lineup for the, mid-game. But the one where you really can look at it was they put Malik Neighbors played less than 70% of the snaps, including they're down by 7 on the final drive, and he's not on the field to start that drive. And they eventually put him in because they wanted to hide it a little bit, right? They went for a 4th and 7 at the 50-yard line on the first drive of the game. They even fake punted at their own 36. That actually worked. But that drive ended with another failed 4th down. I remember when Brian Daboll was asked about, like, were you trying to win their game? He's like, yeah, we did a fake punt. So what they did do is they did a good job of not making it obvious so that people who didn't watch the game would have no clue, right? If you didn't watch that game, you would have never, like, thought that. And most people aren't going to watch that game. Most New York Giants fans are not watching that game. But it also gave them plausible deniability that John Mara can still spit out that stupid line that, I would fire these guys on the spot if I ever thought they were tanking. Like, you're lying. You're flat out lying because they were not trying. Maybe tanking is not the correct word, but they were not trying to win that game. It's also the week after they beat the Colts and messed up the tank. So they had already lost the first overall pick. So tanking was not on people's mind of like, all right, we got to do it this week. I think if they had lost to the Colts and they did that, I think it would have been much more of a storyline. But because they didn't get the first overall pick, it really wasn't. And honestly, it'd be way more embarrassing if they just lost 20-13 to the Eagles backups and weren't trying to lose that game. So they have done it before. I'm not expecting this situation for that to happen. They did it last year once they were given security of their jobs. They had a meeting with Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll had a meeting with John Mara on Friday where they were told that they were safe. So that's that. But let's kick it to the Ryan Dunleavy interview. Let's win/lose the Mega Tank Bowl of 2025. And we'll see you guys here in a second with Ryan Dunleavy of the New York Post. We now welcome on to the show New York Post columnist for the NFL, Ryan Dunleavy. Ryan, congrats on still being the closest record prediction champion 4 years in. There's still 2 games left, but you've locked it up this year despite being 3 games off currently.
That's my thing. I just pick the Giants to go low every year, and every year they go lower. It's like playing the limbo.
It's every year in training camp, I've probably said this on the pod like 3 times over the last 2 weeks, but I'm a big fan of this team, and I talk myself into stuff even though I try and be as level-headed as possible, and then every year, week 1, I'm like, am I being too negative about this or that? And I'm like, maybe they turn it around. Like, eventually, the New York Giants should be able to turn it around and have a great season. And then the Giants are like, yeah, they're going to win 3 times less games than you predicted. So, or half the games that you predicted. So you weren't even negative enough. But
No, the one year I was wrong was the one year they were good was 2022. But no, I mean, look, I just never really have much faith in them I don't really have much faith in the people. So, and then I see the talent. I see the training camp practices you do, and I'm like, oh, Darren Waller looks great, but you know what? Maybe they just can't cover a tight end. Or there's always the flip side of it, right? Like, wow, Russell Wilson looks really good, but like maybe that's because Deontay Banks can't cover. So there's always the flip side, right? Like here's this story I always tell, Bobby. It's Jets related, but the best training camp I ever saw, maybe even better than Malik Neighbors his rookie year, was Carl Lawson, the Jets
Yeah.
pass rusher. Was unbelievable. Um, and then but he didn't even get to the season. He tore his Achilles in training camp, but he was having an unbelievable summer. Would he have had like 20 sacks? I don't know, but I think it has turned out that Mekhi Becton was just not very good at tackle.
Yeah. So already excited for next year's training camp.
That's me. That's me. Bucket of cold water.
Training camp is still my favorite time, no matter what.
Mine too.
My favorite part of like every training camp is like even if they're gonna be great, they're gonna have one really bad practice. And my favorite is arguing with people who weren't there of telling me that it was actually a good practice. I'm like, oh, I guess that's me. I'm just, so negative. I want to lie about Russell Wilson today. So.
It's the only time we get to see every play and 11 on 11s and stuff. So it's definitely the best time of year.
Oh, yeah. And it's the only time of the year where the Giants have a non-losing record.
Yeah.
I'm coming out of the gate swinging. You are the last interview of the regular season for us.
Okay.
What's your prediction on GM Joe Schoen's future?
I will say that Joe Schoen gets fired. That is what I will say. I don't think they want to do it. I think the Giants have pretty much left no choice but to do it. If there's any way that they can avoid doing it, I think they will. I just think they might have run into a situation now where it's toxic with the fans. The team loses. They just cast doubt over Jaxson Dart's ability in the last game. Kafka hasn't improved. It hasn't been coaching because, the coaching change didn't change anything. I just think they might have gotten to a point where it's the point of no return.
Yeah, so that's where
I won't be surprised if he stays because they want to keep him. They wanted to keep Joe, as you probably know, Bobby, they wanted to keep Joe Judge too. It just got to the point where they had to let Joe Judge go.
This is where I think everyone who knows a little bit of anything is just like in agreement, where it's like we all think that they want to keep Joe Schoen, right? Like that's not even like a matter of like question. That's like almost a matter of fact. Like they want to keep Joe Schoen, but like you said, we're looking at this and be like, well, there's just impossible to bring him back after all this. But what if they just do though? Like if we keep hearing that they want to keep Joe Schoen, like is that in the back of your mind, or are you?
Well, here's what's in the back. The back of my mind is I don't know what ownership looks like. I just don't know. Like it's not what it looks like if John Mara is healthy, if we know his future, if Steve Tisch is more involved than he currently is. We just don't know ownership like we normally know ownership. And I feel like I know how John Mara thinks. I don't know how anybody else who might have a bigger say while he is ill thinks. So it's very hard to predict. That's the variable that's hard to predict. And keeping Joe Schoen allows some semblance of comfort, or what's the word I'm looking for? Some semblance of like it buys them time to figure out to get everything else in order.
Will we know how the ownership dynamic is right now? I know you're, kind of everyone feels like they're dancing around John Mara's health, and no one really knows. It's like will they send somebody out there at the end of the year? Because I know there's like requirements of stuff of like ownership speaking when you make changes.
No, there's no requirements on ownership to speak. No, I mean there are owners who go 10 years without. I think the Ravens owner, who's pretty much got nothing but winning seasons to talk about, other than Justin Tucker, hasn't talked in like 6 years or something like that. So I don't think there's any requirement for ownership to speak. I mean, they have to send Joe Schoen out if they retain him, but they don't have to send out anybody above Joe Schoen.
Maybe I misremember. I remember when they fired Joe Judge, I remember them being like, "All right, we don't have much time. One question per person. We're doing this because we're required to speak when we make changes like this to the organization." Maybe I guess I'm wrong. I guess I'll trust you.
Maybe no, you know what? Maybe if they make changes like that, that maybe if they are, maybe that's a situation where they are on the Ravens comes to mind, but they haven't fired John Harbaugh or a GM in like 30 years. So,
Yeah.
so I don't know. I'm trying to think like maybe when you make a massive change like that, you are required to speak. That might be the case, but John Mara has never made it a requirement. John Mara has talked more than uh, would be required. He talks like healthy John Mara talks like 3 or 4 times a year, which is above the norm in the NFL. So I would say, no, I've never felt like there was one question each or anything like that. I've never felt like the Giants did that.
Yeah, I remember, well, that was a Zoom one, they didn't even let WFN broadcast. That was a very weird year, but they kinda used COVID excuses for everything they possibly could. Um, but for getting off the topic of when John Mayer is gonna speak and stuff, so it's just that's the way it seems like everyone kind of feels with this Joe Schoen thing is like they fired Brian Daboll and stuff, and I was happy they fired Brian Daboll, not because I thought it was gonna make them better this year or whatever. It was because like, all right, now we can put all the focus on Joe Schoen. There's no more shield, right? And then they even fired Shane Bowen 2 weeks after firing Brian Daboll. And it feels like that's where any prediction of Joe Schoen being fired is not from buzz that they're gonna fire him, but simply like, how do you keep this guy after 5 wins in 2
Yeah.
years?
Correct. That's it. There's no sources leaking that he's going to be fired. It's all based on like, well, it's almost indefensible to keep him. And that's when the Giants do things when their lack of defense. The seats, obviously the fans have sent a message and, and the idea that Joe at his actual press conference was much more tepid on his own support than last year when he, you know, a almost arrogantly said he would be back. So, it's all just kind of piecing it together. It's just, the Giants fans have wanted no leaks for a long time. Well, this is something you're getting no leaks on.
Um, the head coach search, which again, it feels like forever ago since they fired Brian Daboll, and then the focus is on the GM.
I'll say this, Bobby, now that you say head search, I wouldn't read too much into Joe Schoen has led the search in the press release or whatever. I know you had Ian O'Connor on recently, right? And
Yeah.
he was the first one to point out that like you shouldn't read too much into that. And my reporting would say that's right. Like I would just because he's you know written down the 10 names on a piece of paper and contacted the agents or whatever, the candidate's brother-in-law or whatever, like, I wouldn't read too much into that. It's not like he came up with a list no one else has ever heard of, and if they fire him, then, then they lose, access to Chris Shula. That's not gonna happen, so.
So, I mean, where are they right now? Because there's obviously they can't really contact anybody besides Mike McCarthy and Marcus Freeman. Freeman being the name that we keep hearing pop up over and over again. Like, do they feel like they've got like a priority list? Like, what does that look like for them right now?
Yes, my understanding is they have a list of, candidates that they've done back channeling that is legal to do, that they feel very confident that they will have an attractive they will get somebody at the top of their list, that they have maybe the most attractive opening because of Jaxson Dart, because of I can tell you exactly what it is. Let me go to my notes here. Because of I'll pull up exactly what I was told. Right for
Ooh, I like
right for
this.
you right for you, Bobby. I'll tell you exactly why it is believed to be. Here's my file. Okay.
I'm gonna like we're gonna have to send hackers and to get all all this.
Because of the number of talent they feel, because of the number of talented pieces, because of Jaxson Dart, because of the high draft pick, because of the salary cap situation, health. because the expectations are not what they used to be at the Giants. You can go there and win 8 or 9 games and feel like you and have everybody feel like you turn things around. That is why people across the league feel like the Giants will have a desirable job.
Which I
Oh,
think,
and because of the stability of like typically the Maras and Tishes are the owners and they're patient and um they take care of their people. The Giants just had a Christmas party for all their like low level employees. I shouldn't say low level for all their like non football personnel employees. The other day, it's still considered like a good place to work. So that matters to people. I mean, we are humans with families and whatnot. Like they are a place that I talked to a coach who has been in a lot of different buildings, and he's been in the Giants building. He's like, it's still the best place I've ever worked, even though we didn't win when I was there. So
yeah, it's I do think it is a desirable spot for those. I don't think they're wrong on that because the coaching spots that open up aren't going to be the they're in nature not desirable. So it's like the most desirable. Like the only thing I can see is if
like
the Ravens open up, like that's
or
obviously goes to
Pittsburgh,
number one. Um,
Ravens or Pittsburgh,
yeah, and I don't see Pittsburgh happening. Maybe Buffalo finally, if they lose the
Buffalo.
wild card, they just finally lose their patience. But like that it is because like you have at least a young quarterback who's talented. You have good, salary cap health going forward. Not a ton of space this year, but good
No, but
health.
that's
So
what I'm writing about for tomorrow's. That's what I'm writing about in the post this week is the salary cap, and I think not a ton of space, but there's easy ways to open it up. Okereke, Gano, you have restructure candidates, Adebo, Thomas, Burns, Dex. You could open up a lot of salary cap space if you're the Giants and you need to for some reason. A lot going forward. Now, part of that is they don't have a lot of good players locked up going forward, but a lot beyond 2026 and not a lot of dead money. They have the second least amount of dead money uh, of any team. I think they have like $216,000 of dead money going into 2026. There's no Kenny Galladay. There's no Daniel Jones. There's no Darren Waller weighing down the salary cap the way, like, for example, the Jets, the other team I dabble in, has $71 million of dead cap next year.
71. Who do they have on that roster that has
R-
71 million of dead cap?
Rogers, Quinnen Williams, Sauce Gardner.
Okay, I guess I didn't realize that rolled over to next year. Uh, to stay on the head coach thing, I guess the one name we have heard consistently is Marcus Freeman. What do you hear on the Marcus Freeman front?
So what do I hear on Marcus Freeman? Okay, so my understanding is there is a buyout. Um, it is common. I don't have Marcus Freeman's contract. It is common for NFL teams to pay less of a buyout than other college teams would. I know that I have no idea what the buyout is, but I've seen floated like $40 million, $50 million, $54 million. My understanding is common practice is, and again, I've covered Greg Schiano when he went from the Rutgers to Tampa. We've seen it, Matt Rule. Uh, my understanding is it's common practice for the NFL buyout to be less than if another college tries to poach your coach. Some of the um, numbers that we've seen, I sent them to you this morning, right? They were not exorbitant in any way. Um, the buyouts that they've had. So it is common for NFL teams to pay it here. Looks like the Bucks paid 500,000 for Schiano. The Panthers paid 6 million for Rule. The Dolphins didn't have to pay a buyout for Saban way back when. Harbaugh's was 1.5 million. Chip Kelly's was 3.5 million, and he negotiated that into his Eagles contract. As he was supposed to pay it, he negotiated it where they paid it. So like none of those are exorbitant figures. They're not $50 million. So I do think they would probably have to pay it. I think, I don't know. We think Peter Schrager might have said something about it being like a year's salary or something like that. I don't know that that's true, but again, that makes sense. I talked to an executive this morning who said each contract is different. There's no set rule, but if Freeman knows what he's doing, then he put in, or Freeman's agent knows what he's doing, then he put in different language for the NFL than for college. So it would help to get my hands on that contract, but Notre Dame isn't subject to open public record acts requests, or I would already have that contract. So that takes care of that part of it. What am I hearing as far as the Giants liking him? If the Giants went the college route, it's my understanding it would be zeroed in on him. He is the top college route guy. Um, Fits the bill for them for a lot of reasons. I know a lot of coaches in college because of my background. A lot of them are wary of Marcus Freeman as a college coach at this stage in his career, having really never been in the NFL, wary of him as an NFL coach, having never been in this role before. There's a lot. I know a lot of coaches who have jumped from college to the NFL, or a lot of assistant coaches who have been parts of staffs of guys who have jumped from college to the NFL. And there's a lot of stuff to learn. There's the CBA, there's the practice times, there's how to treat people as human beings who are making more money than you, which you're not used to in college, where you're the face of the program. You're not the face of the program. Jaxson Dart is, or Brian Burns is, or Dexter Lawrence, or Malik Neighbors. So, like, there's a lot to learn for somebody who's never really spent a day in an NFL coaching staff. So there's a lot of people that are like, I don't know if he'd be able to make that transition. You'd have to give him a lot of time, maybe let him get older. Uh, I think he'd be good at it, but you would have to be patient with him. I think he's a good CEO, but it would not be my first choice if I was the Giants. It would be my first choice from the college ranks, but I think I would look to the NFL first, because the Giants are really tired, as you heard John Mara say last year, of like really tired of like being patient. So like they want to get it turned around. They want to get it turned around. So I think they'll probably go to the NFL route first.
Um, yeah, I kind of am right with you with all that Marcus Freeman stuff where I haven't gotten too deep into it, but I'm just like, what am I buying into? And the stuff that you are buying into, the stuff like, I don't know how long that lasts. Even if you are good at it in the NFL, the leadership, CEO type, like that's all good and well, but you got to win quick if you're going to.
And the other thing is, who's he bring, like, as we've learned with Judge and Shermer and Daboll, is like so much of it is who are you bringing with you as your staff? And like, is he just bringing his Notre Dame staff to the NFL? Because like, I don't know, is he going to steal Tommy Reese or something to be his offensive coordinator? Like, um, where's Tommy Reese now? Is he with the Browns, or
Browns, yeah.
yeah?
He's
So like,
Browns.
you're gonna steal the Browns offensive coordinator? I don't know that that's inspiring. So like, yeah, I don't. His ability to build an NFL quality staff would be a big question that I had.
Yeah, and that's why John Harbaugh, I know people are not high on him right now. The last couple of years they've blown some leads, but that's why I kind of do like him. Is like at least he's got a great track record of hiring staff and then firing staff when it's not the right fit. Um, and has done it over time with different styles. Uh, Next thing, this may be, mountain out of a molehill, and you guys would have talked to Dart by the time this comes out, so maybe we don't need to spend too much time. Dart likes the Instagram post of C-Mac on WFAN, basically saying, like, "I can't believe these idiots fired Brian Daboll, and now they're neutering Jackson Dart and all that." Like, he does that on purpose. I said it with Jordan. You don't like those things on accident, you know that those are public, everyone could see them. I've done it before where think this person's an idiot and there's something that relates to them and I like that post. Um, what do you make of like what's the behind the scenes with Jackson Dart right now?
I think Jackson Dart. I don't know why he liked that post. He'll obviously be asked about it. Um, but I'll just talk something that hasn't, that doesn't have an expiration date. Is he's obviously very frustrated that they fired Brian Daboll. Like, they were kindred spirits in a way that you dream of. And that is not to say that Brian Daboll should have remained the Giants head coach, because he wasn't a good head coach. Like, he lost a lot of games, didn't have great control of his locker room, was probably too hard on his assistants. Um, a lot of flaws as a head coach. Too offensive minded, not, didn't pay enough attention to the defense. And when he did, he just tried to flex muscle. Um, but the one thing he had figured out was he and his quarterback shared a brain and shared a personality. And I think that Dart and Kafka might be a little bit like a role reversal of Daboll and Daniel Jones, where they just don't match. That doesn't mean neither one will be successful. As we've seen, Daniel Jones is successful somewhere else. Doesn't mean Kafka won't be good somewhere else. Doesn't mean Dart won't be good with somebody else. But I just don't know if the way Kafka sees football and calls plays and whatnot matches up with Dart's like schoolyard tough guy um swagger. I just don't know if they are the right match. So I think there's certainly disappointment in him. I think Dart is worn down unquestionably by the narrative of he can't run anymore because he can't slide. That every time he runs, he's going to be pulled from a game by a official or questioned about it by one of us, or going to be the main talking point on a national TV show. I think that has unquestionably sucked some life out of him. I think the losing has sucked some life out of him. So if you're asking me if he's frustrated that the situation isn't the same as the one he got into, I think there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I hope it's a reminder for the Giants as we talk about the head coach searches. Not even him, the quarterback position, developing that is the most important thing for the future. So no matter who you hire, whether it's a defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, special teams coordinator, college coach, high school coach, like their plan for Dart has to be at the forefront of every interview that they do.
Correct. But I don't want to just do what they did with Daboll, which is just hire a guy essentially because he can coach quarterbacks. Like, if you tell me Mike
Correct.
McCarthy, okay, he's got 200 and something wins in the NFL, like, okay, I believe he can build a staff and he can work with quarterbacks. Okay. That's why he would probably be towards the top of my list. But like, I'm not just hiring who's the next hot offensive coordinator. Like, who's the hot offensive coordinator? I feel like Clint Kubiak. I'm not just hiring Clint Kubiak because, he worked wonders with Sam Darnold, so he's magically going to work wonders with Jaxson Dart and ignore everything else about Clint Kubiak. I'm just not going to do that. So
Yeah. Um, trying to
now
think.
Clint Kubiak might be a little different because his dad's a former NFL coach. So former NFL Super Bowl winning coach. So Clint probably has a whole generation of older coaches. Like I would have to look up the Broncos 2015 coaching staff, but their D-line coach and linebackers coach might still be in the NFL and be willing to work for Gary's dad.
Yeah, he's also worked with Shanahan, Stefan. Like
Yeah.
Kubiak's been around and
Yeah.
work with Dennis Allen and New Orleans.
Yeah.
I think he's a good defensive coach. So Clint Kubiak is the name that I rise to the top because I just think there's a lot that goes a lot of beneficial stuff there and the different people. Now he's been with Mike McDonald, so he gets the pull from the Michigan Jim Harbaugh tree. So he does go naturally to the top of my list. But like you said, it can't just be a good QB coach. And especially not this rookie quarterback, our year 2 quarterback's doing well, hire him. I think those are the ones that go the worst because sometimes it's like, you know what, that rookie year 2 QB is just really good, and he's making everyone look a little better than what they are.
Correct. That might have been what happened with Daboll.
And I'm getting way too heavy into head coaching opinions. The run game matters. That's where you can really see how good of an offensive coach is what they do in the run game because anybody with a great quarterback can put together some good passing stuff.
That's the Shanahan thing, the run game.
Yep. So there's that, Ben Johnson, right? That's why the Bears offense has been good this year. It's not because Caleb Williams is playing amazing. It's because the run game that they do and Caleb was off of that. So I think I kind of hit everything with this. So, I mean, I guess I'll ask you this, like with the Joe Schoen future stuff, like what is your, like percentage wise, Connor said 50-50. I made him say 51-49.
Yeah. I'd 60-40 maybe that he goes 60-40. Yeah.
And this is why I keep I think a lot of people are just like, yeah, he's gone. He's gone. There's no way to keep him. This is why I'm like, no, I haven't jumped ship into like just assuming that at this point because There's so much in there. So I guess I'll have to wait for Jay Glazer's Fox report on the Sunday before.
But remember, Jay Glazer's the best of the best, which is why I think it's interesting, the Marcus Freeman stuff, because Jay Glazer pretty much said no college coach for the Giants. So that was interesting. I don't think he's said anything since then, but like
he specifically said he's talked to Joe Schoen too.
Yeah,
he said flat out, I talked to Joe Schoen this week.
Yeah, which again, the list is going to be different. Like, just use Lou Anarumo as an example. Lou Anarumo is going to be on Joe Schoen's list. Okay, he's going to be on Joe Schoen's list. They've worked together, a million reasons. We all know them. Family in the building, whatever.
Yeah.
If you hire insert Trey Brown, the guy who was the runner-up for the Jets last year, the Bengals executive, he was just part of a team that fired Lou Anarumo, the Bengals. He is not going to have Lou Anarumo on his list. So, like, every list is going to be a little bit different. You know what I mean? So that's why it's all great to talk about now, but, like, if Shane's not in charge, then you're going to have different names. So.
That reminds me, that's my last question. What's the feeling like from the coaching staff that's left over and just waiting for their jobs to be done with the New York Giants? Like, obviously we have the Brian Cox fallout. Like, is the entire staff just like ready to be out of there?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. Look, maybe one coach gets to stay. That's pretty typical. I think Jerome Henderson stayed from Judge to
Daboll.
Judge to Daboll, and then I think didn't Tyke Tolbert stay from Shermer to
Tolbert stayed from Shermer to Judge, and then McGahee stayed. They tried to keep Patrick Graham too.
Yeah.
Which again, that's another thing. I'm interviewing you and I'm giving you like all these head coaching like takes I have is like, do not bow to the Giants' recommendations. Do not listen to that. That has to be number one. Stop. Because if it wasn't for Patrick Graham leaving, they would have kept the same damn coaching staff in place outside of the offensive coaching staff with Daboll.
Correct. So where was you? Oh, so yeah, I think maybe like a Carmen Brasillo gets to stay. It also matters. Like, what matters is like one reason Jerome Henderson got to stay is Daboll and Henderson worked together with the Jets and knew each other. So like, if they had hired Brian Flores, Jerome Henderson wouldn't have gotten to stay. So, they don't know. So they all obviously, they have to put their houses up for sale and stuff. So yeah, they have other things on their mind, but it's one of those player things too. What other players always say, like, the tape is your resume. You can't like go out and like, if Mike Groh goes out and his receivers are terrible the next 4 weeks, that's just going to leave, or the next 3 weeks, that's going to leave a bad taste in everybody's mouth. So like, they still got to be kind of checked in, but of course they know they're done. I will say, I've rewritten it a few times, so I might as well just say it, is like, there was some coaching friction over Charlie Bowling getting elevated to defensive coordinator. I do not think that set well with everybody on the coaching staff, that he was the choice. There were some questions about why him. Is it because he's known Joe Schoen for 15 years and I haven't known Joe Schoen for 15 years? I thought Mike Kafka was the one making this decision. So I do that's probably subsided at this point. It's 4 weeks ago, but that was something that was boiling over at one point. That I think at this point, Charlie's did a decent job last game, and like you said, everybody's probably got bigger fish to fry.
Any friction on the offensive side?
I don't think so. No, I think there's less strong personalities on the offensive side. And I think Tim Kelly, having done the job before for the Titans and Texans, like, had the resume to do it. So plus Kafka's calling a plays, so it's not like some big thing. I mean, the only guy who might have had hurt feelings would be Shea Tierney. And Shea Tierney probably just counts himself lucky that he didn't go with Brian Daboll.
This is his first time not coaching with Brian Daboll since like 2015.
Correct.
Too.
So he probably just counts himself lucky to still be there. But
yeah, he just misses his friend. I think the offensive coaching staff.
That's like the end of Shawshank. I just miss my friend.
Yeah. The offensive, you said not as high percent. Now I'm thinking about it, the offensive coaching staff is extremely low energy. Mike Groh, anytime you talk to him, he's just like, "Why am I even here?" Kelly's very dry. And then Priscillo seems like he's the the high energy, cussing people out. That guy.
Liddell Betts.
Oh, I even forget. We change a running back coach every year.
Yeah.
That's actually good trivia. Can you name the Giants' last 5 running back coaches? That's how we're ending. Can you name
Joel Thomas.
Okay.
Joel Thomas. Jeff Dixon.
Nixon. He's the Syracuse OC now.
Jeff Nixon. That counts. The guy DeAndre Smith.
Yep. He came from Texas Tech.
He went to the Colts. And Burton Burns.
Maybe the oldest coach the Giants have ever had was Burton Burns.
I don't even know how he looked old. How old was he really? I don't even know.
I'm gonna look it up.
I don't even think he was 70. Like, I don't think he just looked old.
I think they almost it felt like they just gave that job to Jody right at the end. Maybe he's not. He's born in 52. So yeah, he's 73 years old. So he was like 69 years old with
How old is Andre Patterson? He was born in 60.
Do you want to see a very weird picture? Look at Burton Burns' Wikipedia picture. It's him with a mask, like bending over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Andre Patterson is 65. So he's younger.
Yeah. 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 So did I get to the last 5 before
Burns? And then there's been 4 every single year. It's changed under Daboll.
So who was before Burton Burns? Was that would be Shermer's running backs coach?
Yeah. See, this is when I wasn't like in tune with the position. I knew Al Hunter and Tech Tolbert.
Shermer's running backs coach. So that would be Saquon's first running backs coach was. Oh God. No, I don't think I could do that. I think I could do the last 4. I don't know if I could do.
Yeah, I'm looking it up. Oh shit, I looked up 2020, 2019 coaching staff. Which Shermer had Lou Anarumo on the staff.
Craig Johnson.
See, yeah, I don't even know. I don't even know Craig Johnson.
Craig Johnson was a holdover from McAdoo's staff. So there's your holdover from McAdoo to Shermer. So, yeah.
Okay. Wow, Craig Johnson. What is Craig?
He went to Maryland for a while. He might have been Maryland's running backs coach for a while.
Craig Johnson. All right, this is my favorite interview ever. Craig Johnson, Wikipedia coach. He is currently
the associate head. He's unemployed, but he was the associate head coach at Indiana before Indiana got really good.
Oh, I was gonna say, I was getting ready to be like, oh my gosh, he's right there with Indiana, and then nope, they fired him. So he's come on the podcast. You don't got nothing better to do, Craig. Dunleavy, thanks for jumping on. I'm sure we'll talk this offseason. Appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, we now welcome on Danny King for weather and trivia. Danny, what's the weather looking like in Vegas? You're going to be there, so this is very important that you get it right, which is for sure. You probably are more invested in it this week, and that's why you'll do a better job.
Oh, of course, but it's weird. It's like pouring outside right now here today. It's been the worst weather I've ever seen out here. But in Vegas, it's actually going to be. I don't want to say. I guess I'll say chilly for Vegas. It's going to be 51 degrees in Vegas on Sunday. It's supposed to be perfectly sunny, no chance of rain. It's supposed to be a little windy. They're saying on 10 miles per hour. So I'm not sure.
Who's they? I thought you were supposed to be the one saying that stuff.
They, as in my models. I don't discriminate what my models are. But yeah, it's 10 mile per hour winds. I'm not sure if 51 is cold for Vegas. I'm guessing that's probably cold for Vegas.
It's like cold for you?
No, not for me personally, because I'm a 30-degree guy. I love 30-degree weather. But yeah, so I mean, it'll be perfectly sunny day for everyone in attendance to watch what godforsaken football game they're about to put on for us.
Well, so will that be your first time in that dome?
No, I was there in April.
Oh, okay. We should have got you credentialed somehow for that game. None of the beat reporters are going. It'd been very funny to.
Are they not? That's hilarious.
'Cause, I mean, it's like,
what were you doing there in April?
I was covering. I went there for WrestleMania, and then I had to go to Gronk's after party for TMZ. So I swung by there to go to the event, and then I hit up Gronk's.
What'd you do there?
Gronk's after party?
Yeah, like what was that?
Okay. I didn't know this. I had free drinks. I went to go get a beer because I was like, I'll have a beer because I'm working. They're like, oh, you get free drinks. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a problem. But I was just there to like see like if Gronk would like, and so I just like filmed Gronk. Like Flo Rida was there, seeing like if there's anything like worthy to like throw on the site the next day. I did Gronk and Flo Rida didn't show up till like 2 a.m. So I didn't get home back to my hotel till like 6. It was a very long night.
Danny was
I
right.
don't know why I just pictured Gronk like spiking you into the ground.
I mean, if he did, I would have been honored because, that'd be great content. I mean, his dad was there, his brother was there. I think his girlfriend was there, Camille Kostic. So, of course, had to say, shout out Camille Kostic. Saw a couple's relationship go up in flames in front of me. Unfortunately, they weren't famous, so I couldn't record it for good views. They were just two nobodies. But it was the couple of Vegas endeds, and I felt like I had the entire Vegas experience in that one moment.
Yeah. Vegas is one of those cities I don't have any desire to go to. Have you ever been, Grump?
I haven't. No, I kind of. I don't know if I fully agree with what you said. It's just I feel like it's a place that is a giant playground for somebody who's just not me. Like it's not that I have no desire to go there. It's that I don't like all the things that appeal to a lot of people are not really my thing.
Right.
Like strip clubs make me uncomfortable. It's just a weird vibe.
Well,
It's also not my favorite solely because like it costs so much to get in the clubs there. You got to spend so much money to get a table, it's just like even have a chance to be able to have fun. That's not worth it to me.
we almost had to go for the live show raffle we did, the 24-hour. Victor was really pushing heavy for us to go to Vegas, but
How did you got Vegas?
never have I been happier to go to Binghamton, New York over somewhere else, over Vegas and
You say that now.
and
Yeah,
Vietnam.
you say that now. Just wait.
Dude, so did we talk about this on the mailbag, Grump, the Binghamton stuff?
I don't remember if it was during the episode or if it was before and after for Patreon only.
Yeah, so we're looking at locations and looked at the flea market and just the pictures of they had like raffles at the flea market and you can win like $100 cash and it looked like someone who was on the brink of just death won that. And then a woman won like a 2-foot like stick of pepperoni who for some reason for the picture she posed with it holding it between her, between her crotch. Like that was like I posted it on Twitter. I'm surprised there wasn't more people who interacted with it. But what
Danny was completely unfazed by 2-foot pepperoni. He just didn't even move.
And I locked back in. I was texting someone. I locked back in. I was like, wait, what the hell is?
I feel like we're good if we do it there. It's gonna be like a live recording of Trailer Park Boys. So, what do we got for trivia this week, Danny?
So I told the guys, I was like, Giants Raiders, yay! And no one cares about the game this week. No one cares about the game. We're all locked in on one thing, and that is that draft pick. So I thought about when was the last time the Giants played in a game that was like really had a lot of meaning towards the draft pick value, and I had to go back. Unfortunately for Grump, 2019. You had to go back to 2019, the Andrew Thomas Bowl, which was later dubbed that game. Giants won 41-35. Daniel Jones threw 5 touchdowns that game. We all thought that was his coming out game in that moment. Saquon, 22 carries, 189 yards at a touchdown. But of course, Daniel Jones threw 5 touchdowns. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 players that caught a touchdown from Daniel Jones. That means one player caught it twice. Can you guys name me those 4 players that caught a touchdown from Daniel Jones in that football game?
This is 2019 talking Giants lore, so I'll let Grump go. I know the answer, Grump. I'll let you go and see if you can get them.
Oh, you're crazy. So I remember exactly where I was for this game. This was actually my family Christmas party game. And this is one of the ones where I kind of regret like watching it super intently and not just like hanging out with my family instead. But as it turns out, and I remember like people being upset like at the party because this was originally the Chase Young Bowl, not the.
Oh yes, sorry, yes, you're correct. So it was the Chase Young Bowl.
No, but I mean it's not anymore. I think if you ask like a 16-year-old now who Chase Young is, he probably doesn't know.
Probably.
Because he would have been like, what, like 10 years old, 10 years old at that time. Not going to know who Chase Young is. He would never became anything. So I remember this went to overtime and a tight end caught the game-winning touchdown. I'm pretty sure. I just don't remember who the hell the tight end was in 2019. Was that Kyle Rudolph?
No.
It was a tight end.
No, yeah, that's, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh my god.
This is also like
First letter's the same.
as long as Jaxson Dart works out, this is why, like, if they win on Sunday, I'm not gonna be like, "What the hell?" You like, all right, well, like the 2 times where it was clear implications was the we got Andrew Thomas instead of Chase Young win, and then last year against the Colts, like, all right, well, if we got Abdul Carter and Jaxson Dart, like that's pretty cool. So that's why I don't like even though I want them to lose, I'm not gonna lose my mind because this all is very random.
I am going to assume that Barkley had a touchdown receiving.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. He's on like a 4
trying to-
picks out of the backfield.
I'm trying to remember who wide receivers were in 2019. That had to be Golden Tate at the time. Darius
Yep.
Slayton was here. Okay. Darius Slayton was here. I think Shep was still here in 19. I'm going to guess that Shep had a touchdown.
Shep did it up the left sideline. Jones kind of moved the defender with his shoulders. Bam. You know the picture of Daniel Jones like high-fiving Patrick when he comes to the sideline? That was actually after that touchdown.
Was the
But-
tight end Caden Smith?
It was Caden Smith. He had the game winner against Landon Collins in man coverage. Landon Collins blocked me because
I remember, I remember it being against Landon Collins too, especially. I can picture the whole thing. I knew it was a white guy, a white tight end, and that's why I went straight to Kyle Rudolph. But yeah, it was Caden Smith. I don't know the other receiving one. It wasn't. Yeah, I have no idea.
it's Cody Latimer.
Yeah, that one's it's Cody Latimer.
God,
Yeah,
I
Cody Latimer.
remember that shit.
That
Never
you always forget Cody Latimer was a giant, but yeah, Saquon Barkley, Shep, Latimer, and Caden Smith caught the 2 touchdowns from Daniel Jones that eventually would land the Giants. Andrew Thomas. Also, I was hoping Sam Beal had a fun stat this game. He didn't. He just had 6 tackles, but I love that man to death.
The corner room was real because that's when they had the cut. Janoris Jenkins. I guess DeAndre Baker was playing at that point.
They had Baker, Beal. Trying to see who else. I don't know.
Sam Beal had a safety the week before.
Was Antonio Hamilton? He was a corner that year for us.
Isn't that crazy? Antonio Hamilton was just like still in the league.
Yeah,
You know, because we played him with the he was the corner for the Commanders 2 weeks ago. I mean that week 1 Cowboys game, that was my first episode. That was our first game recap of Talking Giants, and it was just like, oh my, this Antonio Hamilton guy sucks. Why is DeAndre Baker not starting? And then DeAndre Baker sucked as well, but not as bad as Antonio Hamilton.
and yet he's still in the league, and Baker's not.
No,
Although Baker, I think, is all UFL, if that means anything at all.
I mean so much.
I remember him snapping his leg for the Chiefs. That was my last memory of DeAndre.
I got his ass out of jail. All right, let's do our fantasy draft or the touchdown fantasy draft. Low scoring week last week, so I had 27 points. Danny 19, Grump only 8. So Danny is in first place with 658 points. You need how many points? I put it in the rundown. How many points do you need, Danny, to break the scoring record? I think it's like 41 points.
41-7.
Yeah, so you need 42 points over the next 2 weeks to break that scoring record, which, hey, if you did the same thing you did last week 2 times in a row, you won't. I am 69 points back, so nice. And Grump 130 points back. Maybe I'm delusional. I really think I have a chance here because this rate.
I think you do too.
It's kind of the perfect 2 games to make up a big lead because you have the Raiders game where it is slim pickings, right? There's going to be some randomness of who's going to get any yards or whatever, right? So, Danny could have the 8-point game. I have a 35-point game. Then you have Brock Bowers go out, right? Like I was sweating between Ashton Genty and Brock Bowers earlier this morning. Okay, well, Brock Bowers is off. And then you have the Cowboys next week who are the worst defense ever, and they're not going to care at that point, and the Giants are going to want to be scoring points, and the Cowboys, like, that one could put up, someone could break the single game record in that one. So I do not think this is over. This is why I'm a fan of full season points. With the first pick, though, I am going to go Ashton Genty. I would have went with him over Brock Bowers regardless, but now I'm glad that Brock Bowers is on IR because now Danny has to make a pick other than him at number 2 overall. So I'm going Ashton Genty number 1, Danny pick number 2.
Yeah, that sucked this morning. That was the most obvious. Hey, I'm not going to accuse anyone of tanking, but they're
tanking.
They're tanking. Yeah, from here, I ate everything on the board. I was all in on Brock. So with that in mind, I don't like it. I just don't. But I'm going to go I'm gonna go the running back. I'm gonna go Tyrone Tracy.
Back-to-back running backs. Tyrone Tracy. Grump, you have
Sorry, like I said last week, when I saw the last first overall pick I had was the Vikings, I started to realize that this was in danger because I was like, it's bad after this.
Yeah, but here's the thing: is the Cowboys game that you just had. We'll see. Grump, you have back-to-back picks.
Am I crazy for like what is the gap between the Giants and the Raiders talent-wise? Like, am I nuts for thinking that like the Raiders are just horrible?
Oh no, you're not. They're the one team where I look at. I'm like, man, they really are just worse than us.
Yeah, I mean, and like I'm not going to defend this season or anybody responsible for any part of it, from Joe Schoen, John Mara, all the way down to like Abdul Carter missing meetings. But like on paper, this is a terrible Raiders team. Oh my God.
Yeah, so like one of the arguments for Joe Schoen is like, oh, we have pieces. Every team in the NFL has pieces except for the Raiders and the Tennessee Titans. Everybody's got pieces except for those two teams. So like that's where it's like, okay, we have pieces. So does everybody in the NFL except for you, Las Vegas Raiders. So hit us with back-to-back picks.
Yeah. So with that being said, I can't in any good conscience pick any Raider ahead of some of these guys other than maybe Trey Tucker. And I don't think I'm going to take Trey Tucker. I think I'm going to go, you took Tyrone Tracy already, Danny. I'm going to go with Wan'Dale Robinson. And I think at some point, Darius Slayton's got to catch a football. So
oh my God.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to ride with Slayton like I always do. So you're going to go Darius Slayton.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at the matchups. Like, okay, so Trey Tucker is a decent fantasy pull, but like, you look at this without Brock Bowers now, they have a running back and a receiver.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch Trey Tucker there either. I think he's he gets 0 catches, 0 yards a lot. Like he's got some games, but I wouldn't touch Trey Tucker. Danny, your next pick.
Ugh. And part of me kind of feels like I want to go Trey Tucker because who else is going to get the football this week? I mean, maybe this is my put my nuts on the table pick right here because let's have fun with it. We'll go Trey Tucker.
Damn, I was trying to talk.
It's going to work because you did it.
I was really trying to talk you out of Trey Tucker.
There was one you was working there for a minute, but I'm looking at my other office and I was like, who else is like throw this football to?
That was a desperation because it's like, all right, there's no other reliable option here. So I'm going to take Theo Johnson. I think the Theo Johnson arc is, hey, 3 games where he has all these catches and then 1 game where he drops everything. We all want to kill him. I mean, that's like been the cycle for him this year. So I'm going to go Theo Johnson, number 1. And if I'm going to go down swinging, I'm going to go down swinging with a guy that I like. Who is that, Grump?
Gunnar Olszewski.
No, he's on the Raiders. Oh, I'm going to win that bet, by the way.
It's Jack Betch, right?
Jack Betch, baby. TCU's finest. Senior Bowl MVP. Jack Betch, baby. Jack Betch. Jack Betch. Jack Betch. Danny, your third pick.
I forgot about Jack Betch being on this roster.
Easy to forget.
I'm gonna go. I guess I'll go with the guy that probably is gonna get some reps in light of Brock Bowers being out. I'll take Michael Mayer.
Yep, that's the right pick. I almost said Sam Mayer. But that's the correct pick. All right, so we're 8 picks in. The top 8 on my big board are off the table. This is where it gets uninteresting. Grump, your final 2 picks.
I think it is interesting because these picks are either going to be somebody who does something or someone who doesn't do anything.
That is true. Unless they die. I guess that's the other option.
There's no
they
in
die.
between. Like, this isn't picking someone who's going to do like 20 points versus 5 points. This is literally going to be either 5 points or 0 points. So this is for everything. I mean, I have to go Devin Singletary with one of these picks because he's definitely going to touch the football unless he gets hurt.
Your boy.
Man, other than that.
By the way, I'm so happy that Jordan Mason got injured last week because it's clear that he's a better back, and Aaron Jones is washed, and he would have gotten most of the carries in that game.
Yeah, and that was my pick, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is part of the reason I had a wonderful 8-point outing last week. Gosh. Do I go Bellinger or do I go Mostert?
Both are terrible options, let's be honest.
Yeah, I don't think there are any good options left. It's
No.
whatever. I mean, you know what? I guess there's a better chance that Mostert touches the football than Bellinger. The only thing is that if Bellinger does touch it, it's probably going to be for more. But I'm still going. I'm just going to go. You know what? No, I'm going to swing for the fences. Give me Daniel Bellinger.
Making me cross shit out. All right,
Yep.
Danny, your last
All right,
pick.
You ended up going Bellinger, Grump?
Yes.
Man, there's like a part of me that's having what's his name pulled to me, Isaiah Hodgins, but he's really done nothing since Dart's come back.
He's a quick game guy, and Dart has not been a quick game quarterback.
Yes, that's the problem. I'll follow in Grump's footsteps. I'll take Mostert off his hands.
So I'm between Tyler Lockett or Isaiah Hodgins. And I feel like if Jack Betch is going to do anything in this game, Lockett won't do as much. And I think Trey Tucker's their number one. So just by hey, I got to swing for the fences, I'm going to go Isaiah Hodgins. I do have Lockett a bit above him.
What's Lockett's status? Because on here it says he's questionable.
All right, perfect. I'm going Isaiah Hodgins then. Very clear for me. Easy money.
I went to check that. I didn't see an official Raiders injury report yet.
Yeah, we're doing this Wednesday because of tomorrow's Thursday. So
yeah, just for a second.
So I'm going Isaiah Hodgins. All right, so Danny in first place has Tyrone Tracy, Trey Tucker, Michael Mayer, and Raheem Mostert. Myself, 69 points back. Ashton Genty, Theo Johnson, Jack Betch, and Isaiah Hodgins. Grump, 130 points back. Wandale Robinson, Darius Slayton, Devin Singletary, and Daniel Bellinger. It's time for Giant Factors. The more-ass player of the week. Marcus Bowe, baby. We're gonna go with Marcus Bowe. If there's one guy besides how many damn times am I gonna do that? There's one guy besides Jaxson Dart that I'm gonna be really diving into and looking at this. It is Marcus Bowe. I would assume they're probably gonna leave him put him at left tackle and put Jermaine at right, but as much as I'm not doing much of individual film analysis at this point of the year, Marcus Bowe is somebody that I will be diving into that, right? And if he gets these next two games, there will be some film work on him that comes out in the month of January on these two games to kind of have an idea of what we've got going forward. So I'm very invested in him. I will be eyeing him for our game recap on Sunday. So I'm going to go Marcus Bowe with my Week 17 Giant Factor. Grump, your Week 17 Giant Factor. And before you say, I hate that Week 17 is not the final season of the year. It just feels weird saying Week 18. Grump.
Correct.
Or no, it's Danny. It's your turn.
I'm going with I was stuck between which players' drops last week bothered me more to go with my Giants factor. Slayton, I've just accepted that's him these days. I mean, Theo Johnson. I want to believe you're the guy still. I know it's not the most riveting. I know we got Bowe before that, but still, Theo Johnson. I want to be able to believe that you're the tight end. You show flashes, but then you do stuff like last week. I want more consistency from you. Let's use these next 2 weeks to really show that to whoever. I mean, if it's Joe Schoen, he'll still be here. But the next GM, be like, hey, I can still be that guy. I can still be your tight end one. I could be Dart's guy when he needs me most. Just wash away last week. Let's bounce back this week, Johnson. You're please be a Giant factor, but not too much of a Giant factor.
Be a huge Giant factor this week. Maybe have your best game ever. Grump, who's your Giant factor?
You look at this Raiders team, and there's only 2 players on the entire roster that other teams are like, man, I really wish he were on our team. And it's probably Ashton Genty, and the other one's Max Crosby, right? So lining up across from Max Crosby is going to be Jermaine Illuminor, most likely. Just seems to be that's where Max Crosby's always going to line up, as across from right tackle. So with that being said, Jermaine Illuminor, this is your contract year. This is where you show up. the Giants have a serious decision to make on Jermaine Illuminor. I know everyone's like, oh, absolutely. I don't really care if it's Illuminor or anybody else that's, like, I don't think Jermaine Illuminor is all pro level at right tackle. I just want them to take the offensive line seriously. So if they don't re-sign Illuminor, as long as they replace him with someone of equal or better value, I'm happy. This is his chance to state a case that I want Jermaine Illuminor to be a New York Giant in 2026 over everybody else at right tackle. So go out there, shut down Max Crosby, and I will absolutely be a Jermaine Illuminor believer. He must be a Giant in 2026. Convince me, man. Be a Giant factor.
It's a revenge game for him too, by the way.
It absolutely is. Him, Alex Bachman, Geno Smith,
Carmen Brasillo, Greg Van Roten.
Mhm.
You know what? Let me look. I have a doc with all revenge games.
While you do that real quick, this is completely random and off topic. I still can't get over how different Bobby Johnson looks. Every time I see him in Hard Knocks, I'm like, there's no way you're the same dude that was coaching my team not that long ago.
Totally different. I totally agree.
Too bad Kadir Ismail is not on the practice squad anymore, or else it would have been a revenge game for him. All right, time for spread picks. Danny got back above 500 last week with a 7-1 record. He is 67-62. I am in second after going 4-4. I'm at 61-68. I'm kind of giving up on the dream of 500. Grump moved back into third place with a 5-3 week, up to 53-76, and the listeners went 2-6 or 52-77. We got 3 games on Thursday this week. So this will be coming out after that, so we can kind of go quick through it. But Cowboys at Commanders +7. The listeners, represented by Colorado G-Men, are going Cowboys -7. It hurts me. I'll be rooting for Josh Johnson and the boys, but I'm going to go Cowboys -7 as well too. Grump.
Yeah, the Commanders are battling pretty hard. If I may be Brian Daboll for 5 seconds in a post game press conference, the Commanders are battling pretty hard with Marcus Mariota at quarterback, etc. But they are counting the days until this season's over. And as much as the Cowboys are eliminated, they have such an explosive offense. I'm going Cowboys.
Danny.
Yeah, I'm going Cowboys. Do we think Dan Quinn gets fired at the end of this year?
No way.
No, I think him and Adam Peters are too. You go to the NFC Championship game your first year.
Yeah.
I think
that guy stunk too. That team was not that good last year.
Yeah, I've just seen people saying that, and I'm like, really? I was like, I know it's been bad, but I didn't think it was like fire head coach worthy bad yet.
Your quarterback's arm was backwards.
Yeah, that too.
Granted, that was also his fault. You can argue. Let me stop.
Lions at Vikings +7.5. Max Brosmer versus it shocks me that the Lions have just fallen out of the playoffs. It's actually unbelievable. But Max Brosmer, I'm going Lions -7.5. I would pick basically every team -7.5 except for the Giants and Raiders and the Titans. Listeners are agreed, Danny.
Hopefully, the NFL next year has figured out a better way to make these Christmas games more valuable, or just don't play them at all.
Or actually, you know what? Don't, dude. Like we don't deny everything.
I don't need them. I'm not going to be watching this game. I'm going to the Lakers game.
Who they? Oh, they play
Houston.
Yeah. So you're going Lions?
Yeah.
Grump.
Clean sweep, Lions.
Oh, I forgot about this night game.
Broncos at Chiefs +13.5. Chris Oladukin at quarterback. The Broncos, when they played the Chiefs in week 18 last year and the Chiefs sat their starters, I think they won like 35-0. The Broncos, they don't care that it's, they're not playing down to their competition. They're going to dominate them. I'm going Broncos -13.5. Listeners are going Chiefs, though. Danny.
Yeah, I'm going Broncos. The Chiefs are just lost right now.
Grump.
This is a wild spread.
I could have believed 27.
Crazy spread. And it's not like if it were a mile high, I would say no brainer Broncos. I don't know, man. I guess I'm crazy for I'm gonna go. Yeah, no, 13.5 is too much for me. Not going Broncos.
I mean, last time we had spread this big, I think we most of us lost. It was the Phillip Rivers first game.
It was. The listeners are the only ones that got it right. Or maybe Danny did too. Texans at Chargers -2.5. What do you got for this one, Danny?
Texans are humming. I mess with the Texans heavy right now, so give me the Texans. That defense.
See, I mess with both these teams heavy. Actually, mid heavy because they both have fatal flaws. But the Texans' strength is against the Chargers' fatal flaw. I'm going Texans plus 2.5. Grump.
You took the words right out of my mouth. That's exactly why I'm going Texans.
Listeners going Chargers. Ravens at Packers -3. Those are two teams who have not been locked into the Packers haven't been locked in, or have they? I think the Packers have been locked in, but the Ravens haven't.
I think they're locked in.
Ravens fighting for the playoffs. John Harbaugh's future, in question. Listeners are going Packers. Danny, who do you got?
I mean, well, I guess Ravens probably wanted Lamar this week. My main question is just is Jordan Love going to play? Is going to pass concussion protocol in time? I'll just go the Packers for now, just because I just don't know what they'll do without Lamar. They look horrible without him.
But the Ravens, they have these random games that they do good without Lamar too. So I'm going to go Ravens. I'm taking the points on this one. Grump.
Read an article this morning on the Baltimore Sun about how the Ravens should consider trading Lamar Jackson.
Oh, that's nice.
I'm going Packers.
Wait, quick. Is Harbaugh fire end of the year? Yes.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so either.
It hasn't been bad enough for long enough to fire.
Yeah.
It would just be, to me, that would be malpractice. It would be like Jacksonville getting rid of Tom Coughlin.
So, and here's something that I think is very funny when you look at it from the outside in. The Ravens have blown some leads this year. But there's also like this graphic going around of all the blown leads, and it goes back to like 11 years ago. And I saw another thing. It's like John Harbaugh has blown more 10-point leads than any coach in over the last 15 years. It's like, yeah, him and Tomlin have been the only guys fucking coaching for the last 15 years. Like, yeah, it's going to be him. It's going to be one of those two or Andy Reid. There's only 3 options of people that could be that. So I'm going Ravens. Seahawks at Panthers +7. Panthers, they took the division lead, but I'm going to go Seahawks -7 in this one. I got the Hawks. Grump.
Man, you convinced me. All in on the Seahawks. That game, that comeback last week, as much as it was like kind of sort of bullshit, it spoke to me a little bit. I'm still never been like a big believer of the Panthers. So I'm going Seahawks.
You hate your hometown team. Damn it.
I hate it.
Support your local sports programs. That's why I'm right.
I support their soccer team, I guess.
Give me the Panthers.
Oh, speaking of Panthers, Brian Burns played for them. So the softball game, it's May 30th. The Brian Burns charity softball game. Let's put some, make sure you go, obviously. But the Charlotte race is the weekend before. So I'm thinking, Grump, we do the Charlotte live show weekend before, and then we're doing the softball the weekend after, and then binging. I don't know. We got to figure it all out.
Yeah.
Eagles at Bills -1.5. Who you got, Danny?
I wish I could watch this game. I'll instead be watching the Trash Bowl. Only learned about that last week during the Fox pregame. I'm gonna go with the Buffalo Bills. I still mess with the Bills. I also hate the Eagles. So no matter what, I'll take the Bills to cover.
Listeners are going Bills. I'm going Eagles. This is one of those games where the Eagles just remind people how talented they are against a team like the Bills, who are so quarterback heavy. So I'm going to go Eagles. Danny, you mentioned Fox pregame. We are 1 week away from tuning in for Jay Scissor. I guess, boy, that's probably my favorite tradition of being a bad team, is like the last Sunday of the season. Let's sitting there just like I make sure I have everything done before the game, before noon, because I'm sitting there locked in, waiting for Jay Glazer to speak. It's a great tradition in Giants land.
I feel like
These dirty scoops.
Yeah, I feel like this year we're gonna hear from Glazer. Shane's gonna be in like the I don't know categories. Like, we're gonna hear their meeting on Monday, and then we're gonna be on meeting and watch the entire Monday.
I think that's the same thing too. That was the same thing we got with Joe Judge.
Yeah,
And he said that Judge was campaigning to make Kevin Abrams the GM and Michael Strahan. We talked about this on the Sunday.
Oh yes, I remember this.
Oh, like just like lost control of his body for a couple of seconds. He's like, I respect Kevin Abrams, but come on.
Who do you have, Grump?
I'm going to go Bills. I think both of these teams are pretenders, but the Bills have been more consistent than the Eagles this year.
Bears at 49ers -3. Listeners going 49ers. Danny.
I'm gonna go the Bears. They're a fun team right now. Give me Chicago. The cover.
Grump.
I'm going Niners. I like both of these teams, but I think the Bears are probably looking ahead a little bit to the playoffs.
Yeah, and I think the solid defense does a good job against the Bears. This has become a spread picks tradition. What's your guys' Super Bowl pick? Has it changed? I don't even remember what your guys was last week. I don't remember what mine was last week.
I think me and Grump both have Bills Rams. For right now, I'm still sticking with Bills Rams. I haven't seen much to make me change my mind yet. Wait, no. The Rams are starting to make me question. I'm not going to change it yet, but the Rams are making me a little more hesitant on them right now.
I mean, right now the Rams.
Sticking with it.
Yeah. Right now the Rams are the 6th seed, but that's actually I'm more confident in the Rams than I am any team in the AFC. And I'm gonna go. Dude, the Texans are, they're gonna make the playoffs, but they are like the 7th seed. I'm gonna stay Rams Patriots. I think we get a three-peat of that Super Bowl, with 3 different iterations. Quarterbacks for the Rams and all those: Kurt Warner, Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford. Ooh, that'd be a good rankings. What would be your all-time rankings? Goff is 3. Between who's the better all-time quarterback, Kurt Warner or Matthew Stafford?
I'm gonna say Stafford. I think that I have a lot of respect for Kurt Warner, and it's not like shade towards him, but in terms of like individual talent and stuff, like Matt Stafford does things that are really truly insane. Like some of these no look passes he does, and I don't want to like make it all about that. They're pretty wild. I've never seen someone take so many hits and be completely unaffected like throughout his entire career since like 2009. Kurt Warner played in a Mike Martz thing,
Yeah, but then he went and did it with the Cardinals too. Like Kurt Warner is one of the weirdest quarterbacks of all. Like just the story in itself coming from Arena Football League.
Mhm.
But it was like MVP and then got benched. He got benched 3 different times he got benched by the Rams for Mark Bulger. Obviously the Eli one was a planned one, and then was in like QB competitions with Matt Leinart and the Cardinals. Probably was always better than Matt Leinart, but Leinart was a top 10 pick for them. And then took the Cardinals to the Super Bowl. That's a really tough one.
Yeah, that's a really interesting question for me to be on the spot about. Like, I'd have to like look into it more.
I'm going to call that.
I mean, let's say this: I don't remember Stafford ever being benched. So
he did get traded though.
He did.
All right. Giants Raiders score predictions. Danny, what do you got?
I would be pretty bummed if we do win this game. To say the least, I would like it to be competitive. I would like to at least walk away from him and saying like, "There's Jaxson Dart," so we can stop hearing people on TV say he's not the guy. I know anything could change with Dart, but the conversation surrounding him, especially from this one dude I saw on CBS, was a joke. Giants are gonna lose. No, I take that back. Deep down, I believe the Giants are gonna win. Giants are gonna win. I'll give the Giants 20, and I'll give the Raiders 13.
Grump.
yeah, man, this Raiders team is really, really bad. I'm not sure if the marching orders are literally going to be for the Giants to lose this game, but that's not really my job to predict that. I'm going to try and just predict based on the talent on the field and what I think they can do. And like, I know Ashton Genty is a good running back and our run defense stinks, but I just don't see any way. It's really difficult. Like you literally have to try to lose this game, I think. And I also don't think that the Giants are going to do that. I think that the Giants win this game, especially since I don't think we'll have any trouble kicking in a dome. So yeah, I'm going to go Giants 24, Raiders 13.
People say that it's my fault that the Giants are like this because of my score prediction every week. Maybe you're right. Let's test the damn thing. Let's see if I'm right, or let's see if it's the talent. Prove yourselves right this week, guys. Giants 77, Raiders 0. We'll be live after the game. It is the mega Tank Bowl, the 2025 Mega Tank Bowl. I hope that we come out on top, which means coming out on bottom. So appreciate you guys. We'll see you guys on Sunday. Until then, what are you guys smirking at?
just
I know. As soon as I said it, I knew I was going to get smirks from you guys. We'll see you guys after the game. Until then, let's go Big Blue.